Welcome to the July 7th, 2020 episode of Corrective Consciousness, the in-depth podcast about what happened this week in our lives. I'm your host, Vize the Bolt, and this is...
Lotus Prince.
And we have another wonderful show here, but, of course, we have to go over some misery first.
Of course.
No news like bad news, right? Amongst a ton of other terrible allegations that have been coming out within the video game industry, there have been a lot of allegations coming out amongst for sexual misconduct and just straight up assholery and just being terrible humanity that's been coming out of the video game publishing news sector. There was a bunch of stuff going on with allegations over a bunch of different magazines, IGN especially, but a new allegation that is completely shocked everybody, or I guess shocked people, in this community. Entirety of Evo is canceled now because of sexual misconduct allegations over the CEO of Evo. His name is Joey Cuellar, or Cuellar. I think it's Cuellar. Apparently, I'm not gonna get a lot of the stuff is really uncomfortable. It has to do with young boys. It's really bad stuff. I'm not going to get into the specifics of it, but it basically appears that he is even admitting to them on Twitter. He didn't say it, but he said it. He's just I've done a lot of things I'm not proud of in my past, but I've learned, that kind of thing.
Oh, well, now it's okay then.
But yeah, he didn't deny it.
I fucking hate shit like that. But now I've learned. It's oh, good, all right, well, moving on.
Well, you've also destroyed the lives of the people that you abused. So
it's interesting that he didn't learn until after the allegations came out. If only he had learned at some point before all that, so he wouldn't have to use it as a response to allegations. What an unfortunate coincidence.
So as a response, almost immediately after all this stuff happened, Capcom dropped out, and then all the other.
Yeah, if Capcom
companies
drops out, you're fucking done. I guess there's Namco, with Tekken and stuff.
Well, all the rest of them dropped out almost immediately after that. But
Street Fighter V and Tekken 7 are the big draws at this point.
Capcom was quick in dropping out, and they're the main event.
Yeah, they're usually the finals. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's Street Fighter. Street Fighter is the cornerstone
fighting game
of fighting games, and it has been since Street Fighter 2. So,
Karate Champ.
Oh, get out of here! No Data East game has ever been better than any Capcom game.
Champion.
And I say this as that's a Nintendo game, first of all.
Yeah. No, I know, but I'm just saying it's a quality fighting game.
I kind of wish there was a losers bracket for Urban Champion during Evo.
Yeah, that would be insult to injury. Now you have to play this. Ah, fuck.
What's actually kind of funny is there are a couple decent fighting games for the NES, and they all get overlooked. Because there's the tournament fighters, the Ninja Turtle tournament fighters. The NES
that gets overlooked because it's what, $200 now or more.
It's an expensive game. It's one of the rarest games.
It's not just available online.
Yeah, and there's also Joy Mac Fight, which is quite good and quite underrated. But anyway, this is really serious, and Evo kicked him out immediately and is being replaced. With a new CEO. So,
interesting that worked, though. Because, how many stories have you heard of just garbage CEOs and just nothing happens? Here, they're all right, fuck you. He's out. Just immediately.
I mean, it does happen. I mean, Papa John's got rid of Papa John, immediately after.
He made that, meme-worthy video where he was there's going to be a reckoning. A reckoning is coming, or whatever he said.
That was afterwards, but...
it was afterwards. It was it wasn't as funny as the memes made me think it would be, but it was kind of funny.
He was ousted for saying the N word at work. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
There's no there's no excuse for that. So anyway, so yeah, of course, hearts go out to anybody who was harmed. During this, of course, all the companies made the right decision in dropping out, and the fighting game landscape, the fighting tournament landscape, may change here after. We don't know whether Evo will recover as an institution. Even this is a pretty big deal.
Well, I mean, it is, but I mean, outside of the CEO himself, there's a lot of creepy shit in various competitive communities. I don't even know if you can say it's an open secret. It's just kind of like put up with. Like the Magic the Gathering community's got a bunch of fucking garbage people. Like
yeah, a lot of it's good old boys bullshit.
But like not even that. Just like when you, I mean, like this isn't like movie star levels of fame, but when you get a degree of fame and you become recognized and you get fans, then I'm not going to say absolute power because it's fucking stupid, but like power of any kind corrupts, and
exactly.
You would see it all the time.
Yeah, and it particularly happens when guys get a hold of it, it particularly goes bad.
I mean, that's the whole thing. Like the community, like a lot of communities are like gatekeeping in that regard. So they're dominated by guys anyway. So like, and then you get shit like this where it's like, yeah, well, but he's a good player though, and like finally people are starting to like really like en masse get something done.
Well, at the very worst, women get like called all kinds of like bad things, and like,
and that's just by like outright everybody.
Yeah, but like during these things, they get yelled at and screamed at, while they're playing. And all that kind of stuff.
Speaking of which, I don't believe this is on the show notes. No, but decent segue. Did you hear how Laura Bailey, the voice actor of one of the prominent characters in The Last of Us, was getting all sorts of abuse and death threats because dipshits can't tell between fantasy and reality. They think video game characters are real, I guess, and they think that voice actors are writers or something because they're dumb fucks.
It's not even just the voice actors. Like all kinds of people having to do with The Last of Us Part 2.
No, that's definitely true, but like
just getting harassed.
But voice actors just baffles me. It was the same thing for Game of Thrones when like, I mean, not to this degree, but like, did you hear about how long is it? When did Game of Thrones end? Last year? Was it last year?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Whatever. When it ended,
it immediately exited the lexicon. Like immediately.
Has that ever happened with a popular TV show?
Star Wars.
No, people fucking talk about. Some people are like, I'll watch that movie.
New
Game
Star
of
Wars
Thrones. Even the people. Movies. There are lots of shows that end badly, and you're like, well, I'll watch the first 3 seasons, and then I'll drop off before it turns to shit. Nobody's doing that with Game of Thrones.
Dexter was pretty bad, but it at least had a season where it just like went downhill. You know what I mean? Like,
well, no, Dexter was the 15 seconds in the very end. That was dumb as shit. But anyway, back to Game of Thrones though. Like, did you hear about how when the various actors for Game of Thrones went to Comic-Con, like San Diego Comic-Con, they were talking about the show and promoting it, and they were getting booed? It's like number one. They're not the fucking writers. They're actors.
They're not the creative team.
Yeah, they're not the creative team, you fucking idiots. And number two, of course they're going to promote the show that they're on and getting paid for.
It's their livelihood.
Can you imagine, like, Robert Downey Jr. coming out after, like, Iron Man 1? Yeah, I don't know. I thought that movie kind of fucking sucked. Can you imagine what that would do to his fucking career?
You always have to promote your own shit. I mean,
yeah, I mean, even if you're bored doing it, they're not going to say my movie, my TV show sucks like 5 minutes after it comes out. Like, what the hell did you think they were going to say? Not to what's funny, by the way, is you could see in some clips, like those paparazzi clips, what do you anything to say about the new season or whatever? Like, especially the actress who played Daenerys, you could tell she's like, yeah, best season ever. Like, you could tell it's like the most forced thing. It's like, oh, but they're not gonna outright say it's bad. Like, what did you expect?
Like all this dogpiling and bullshit is really upsetting. Like, I don't even know anybody who would do this kind of thing. That's the thing. Like it's like I'm so far divorced from it. It's just kind of hard to believe. But
Well, yeah,
it
you
isn't
hear about
because
the internet with a bunch of shits. Can you imagine though? Just
yeah,
like,
it's just so weird.
can you imagine though, like being on the computer or your phone or whatever, and being like, "Fuck you, I'll kill you" or whatever, because like the video game character didn't say the lines you liked. You fucking loser.
It's so bizarre. It is such an inconsequential thing. Like people getting it reminds me of like Evangelion. Like when the fans gave like the director of that like death threats. It's like it's such a goddamn inconsequential thing.
Yeah, I mean that ending fucking hurt, but like yeah, like
it's
whatever.
An anime.
It's yeah.
It's an anime. It's not like your boss or
yeah,
like you know what I mean. Like somebody who has any direct power over you. It's just something you like.
Well, like that reminds me when I see on Facebook or whatever,
so
like DC is coming out with another new movie, and people are like, "No," and I'm like, "So don't fucking watch it. Shut the fuck up."
Yeah,
like
I mean,
oh
whatever.
god, they're remaking this or that, so don't fucking watch it. Shut the fuck up. Like,
yeah,
get out of here. You can still watch RoboCop whenever you want. Shut up.
I mean, like, I'm usually just like excited. Or not excited.
Well, yeah, I was
so,
gonna
like,
say I'm usually
like,
not. I usually roll my eyes like or like that movie was such a product of its time. Why would you remake it? But like I'm not gonna like bitch about an additional separate thing existing.
Yeah. It's so stupid.
Like I mean I think I might have even mentioned this on the podcast before, but Stephen King was in some interview or whatever. I think it was a video interview where somebody had asked what he thinks of his like products getting ruined by these movies or whatever, and he's like, "My products are ruined," and then he like turns around and it's like, "No, they're right here, they're fine. Like the books on the shelf, it's like they're cool, nothing happened to them." It's like that's fucking right. Get over it.
Also, like
the Dark Tower movie fucking blows, but like you could still read the books whenever you want.
yeah. I don't know. Stephen King has always had a good head on his shoulders when it comes to that kind of stuff. So
and apparently he's self-aware. I haven't actually yet watched It Part 2 because I heard it was disappointing, but apparently Stephen King cameos in it and has a line about like it's not directly about himself, but it's totally about himself, like about how like a lot of horror stories just have disappointing endings or something, which is like a big complaint about a lot of his works.
Well, I mean, here's the thing about It Part 2 is that like it's like that in the book. Like like the good part is the kid part. Like that's
yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
that happened with the original miniseries too. Like it's not a.
The original miniseries was really cranked to 11. The adult part was like, I guess I'll tolerate this with a few amusing exceptions.
That's supposed to be the idea. The idea is that when you're a kid, things are scarier because you don't know how to deal with them. But when you're an adult, you have all the tools you need to defeat the things that scare you.
And it is also a little weird to see the adults still getting spooked by like a 1950s circus clown.
Yeah, I think that's the idea. The idea is that adults know how to deal with challenge in their life a lot better.
Yeah, like if you see like a grown man who's trying to mess with you, like as an adult, you could punch him in the face. Like as a kid,
or
what are you gonna
away.
do?
or do like any number of things that would make the that would resolve the issue.
Yeah.
When you're a kid, you're confused and scared, and things are easier to take advantage of you. That I think that's the whole point. And so therefore, the adults can defeat the bad guy a lot easier, because they've grown up.
But what if it's a giant spider though?
It was.
I know. Even in the book, it's like, oh, Stephen King's got to have a supernatural weird element.
The way they did the spider in the movie actually was quite good.
The new one?
Yeah.
Okay, because the old one was this weird stop motion thing, and you're like, I know it's a TV movie, but
Well, basically what they did was they combined.
It was a clown spider.
They combined Pennywise.
I kind of wish it was just a giant spider. Honestly, like we get it. Pennywise is iconic.
Well, you gotta give the actor some screen time, I guess. But he played the character fantastically.
Yeah,
in the first
he
one,
freaking nailed it.
But anyway, we got to move on. But yeah, Evo canceled for terrible reasons.
Yeah.
But it's good that it's canceled to give us some time to heal here. and this was actually really interesting. Andy McNamara has stepped down from Game Informer after being 29 years
Yeah, I can't even
with
believe
it.
it's been around for that long. Like, I only ever associated Game Informer with GameStop, which is not 29 years old, so that really threw me.
Well, Game Informer used to be distributed by FuncoLand back in
Oh
the
my
day.
god, because
Yeah,
it's like Nintendo. Like, oh, it's 200 years old. What? Like, it's like one of those.
yeah. So he's been with it since basically its inception, and like a lot of industry veterans were like, "You don't understand what this means." Like this guy worked for 30 years in an industry that's only been around for like 40 or 50,
Yeah.
and at that there was well, the news industry for it basically was birthed right around that. Like it's nobody's worked 30 years, at a magazine, and furthermore, Game Informer is basically the only game magazine we have left.
Yeah, a
Um,
lot of them have fallen by the wayside. Even Nintendo Power. You'd think that would be the one to last forever.
yeah, I can't think of any other print magazine other than Game Informer. And
Ranger Rick.
Zillions. Do you
Zoo
remember
Books.
Zillions?
No, I don't.
Zillions was the print magazine that was Consumer Reports Kids.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. I used to be a subscriber to Zillions.
Lego magazine, baby. Or was it even a magazine? Maybe.
I had Nickelodeon magazine back in the day. Disney Adventures.
Nah, I got like when we were kids, I got Ranger Rick, and my brother got Zoo Books. And then when we got a little older, think, I think my brother might have gotten some Nintendo Power, like a couple. Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's been pretty crazy that he's been able to been through that magazine through thick and thin, and he's being replaced by Andrew Reiner. Just wanted to say a quick word because Andy McNamara is very held in high esteem in the industry. So.
and I was gonna mention, yeah, like you just said, he's gonna be replaced, meaning Game Informer will still continue to exist, which is incredible.
Yeah, I mean it'll probably go on as long as GameStop's around, but
until the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean they have their license back in Pennsylvania. Have you heard?
Oh. Hooray, now that they've agreed to comply with the fucking law.
A bunch of assholes run that company. Man. But yeah.
That's one of those cases where, like, how do you not throw that CDO to the curb immediately? Disobey the police. Fucking seriously?
Eat shit. How about that?
Yeah, I know. I don't get paid enough for this shit. You come down here, you do it. I'll watch. I'll tape you.
I don't know any other company
that capture video.
Any other retail company that abuses their employees more than GameStop does. They take advantage of a body of experts, unlike any other industry can. It's incredible. You take people that love and have a huge passion for a hobby, and you take advantage of them, by paying them low because they're like, oh well, you should feel lucky to have a job at GameStop because it's attached to a hobby.
You should feel lucky to have a shitty network of employees.
Yeah, it's
except
awful.
For like the people that are in your on your level.
The people that work there know way more about the product than any other retail space.
Yeah, there is zero chance that like the very higher ups at GameStop could like work the cashier job at GameStop when random customers ask questions.
Oh, it's the worst because and the trade-in stuff is such a pain in the ass. Oh my god.
I'll
but
bet.
Anyway,
especially now, like I mean, you were out way before this, but now that they're accepting trade-ins of, well, you it might have worked for you, but like not even cell phones, just like anything old, like anything, because like for their online store. Because, like, you wouldn't sell NES games back when you worked at GameStop. Like, you wouldn't have paid money for those. Like, as a store employee, there's no way.
The big thing that we had to put up with that they didn't is we used to take in DVDs and pay cash for them. That was awful.
GameStop did have a hot minute where they sold DVDs.
Oh no, it was the for 10 years. They did.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Was it select stores or something? Because I only remember seeing it like 1 or 2 stores.
Well,
That is where I got the 13 Ghosts movie, though. I know it's a weird fucking movie to bring up, like anybody cares, but that's where I got it from.
That's how I bought my entire set of Gundam Wing.
Ooh, very nice.
At a super cheap price because it was like buy one get one free.
Yeah. And you were an employee.
Too. Yeah, and I was an employee, and you know how expensive each of those DVDs were. They retail for like $30.
Yeah, anime DVDs in the '90s, like oof.
You need to buy 10 of them.
In the 2000s,
early aughts, yeah. Early aughts.
'90s tapes were pretty expensive though.
Oh, that tapes were the worst because you had to hunt down like the subs versus dubs, and you had to pay more for subs, which is stupid because it's half the work.
Yeah,
it's less than half the work, of dubbing something.
Yeah, and it was like 3 episodes per. Like a DVD could hold more.
If it was DBZ, it was like either 2 or 3. Yeah,
it was pretty rough. Yeah,
it was rough. But anyway, moving on. Apple Arcade looks like it is close to being shut down as an initiative.
Well, yeah, because who gives a shit? Nobody wants to buy their games on Apple Arcade. The one draw they had was Shantae 7 Sirens, and then it's like, oh, don't worry, we're putting it on a real platform afterward.
Well, they also had to exit the Gungeon, if you remember.
That's true. And when I say a real platform, I don't mean like mobile games versus real games, but I mean like fucking Apple Arcade. Is it on a phone or isn't it? Get the hell out of here.
Well, the advantage of Apple Arcade was that it was supposed to be game, and they didn't stress this at the beginning because I only just learned this.
Oh, great!
But the idea with Apple Arcade is that they were supposed to be premium games, meaning they weren't like microtransaction and ad driven.
Yeah, I certainly didn't know that. I mean, I know Edge of the Gungeon wouldn't be one of those, but I hadn't heard of most of their library.
Exactly. They were doing it as a separation from their normal app store because most of the games on there are, microtransaction or ad heavy or both. So the idea was that they were getting back to a premium game market, and it just isn't working out. Plus, they said they basically canceled every foreseeable game to shift engagement, in quotes, during the pandemic, whatever the hell that means. It means it's dead. I mean, if you're,
I love that they tried playing off the pandemic. Do you remember Quibi when they were like, I think we're losing viewers probably because of the pandemic situation? It's like, no, this is precisely when viewership should explode, like it is on every other streaming service. No, maybe your marketing just sucks. Maybe nobody wants to use Quibi as a fucking verb.
Well, I think the major problem with that service is that they are only available as a mobile platform. Nobody wants to watch something wants to be forced to watch something on mobile. I mean,
everyone's
they want to watch it on their TVs.
Well, that's the thing. Watching stuff on mobile is brilliant. As an option, if you're commuting or something, but when everyone's forced to stay at home, use the damn TV or monitor, whatever you have.
It should be flexible, just like everything else. The majority of your viewers are, you're gonna have some kind of split, but I bet you the majority of your viewers would still be on TV. Because that's the way people like to binge things. You're not gonna you can watch
your phone and just
things on your phone or
I can't wait to marathon 5 episodes on my phone. No one's doing that.
Yeah, but anyway, people are losing jobs and stuff over this Apple Arcade stuff, so it just stinks. But I mean, I can't say that it wasn't something that I thought was gonna happen. I mean, Apple's had a huge problem with the type of games that are on there are something that you and I don't like to play, and they were trying to grab our attention, but it's not. You need to have something compelling versus everybody else in order.
Yeah, like a phone that isn't an iPhone, which I have. Oh well, guess I'm not doing Apple Arcade.
Exactly.
Go fuck yourself. Apple specific. I know Apple's versus Macs. That's all. Or Macs versus PCs is already obnoxious enough. Most stuff doesn't work on Mac or whatever. That's a pain in the ass for Mac users. We appreciate being able to fucking play. I'm not gonna spend another $400 on a phone just so I can play a proprietary streaming service that, whoops, looks like it's going to die anyway.
Yeah, it stinks the people are going to lose their jobs, but I can't say that the like just like Google, Stadia, like I can't get behind
Oh,
either of
Stadia can
them.
go fuck itself because you don't own anything you play on it, so
Yeah,
never mind about that.
yeah. I mean, they're both
Like, I mean,
ill-conceived, but
everybody has Google, so that's a little more accessible. But I refuse, I just refuse to like pay full price to rent a game. Like, get the hell out of here.
yeah. Moving on from that, this is something that I thought was interesting. Sony pulls their like PlayStation 5 ad campaigns from Facebook over hate speech concerns. So I imagine this goes along with the political ads that are not being verified and things like
Yeah, I
that.
was gonna say I heard a lot of companies are pulling from Facebook.
I mean, if good on them. I mean,
Yeah.
they will bow down to the people that like feed that
Well,
buy their
that's the whole
lunch.
thing. You can bitch all you want, but like nobody cares until it affects their bottom line. Like it's true of our government, it's true of our corporations.
Yeah, so um, Facebook really needs to hold themselves in line because I don't care how you feel about freedom of speech and all this other stuff, but there's a reason why like on TV you can't run a political ad that's just a bunch of lies. Like you can't do that. They have to be verified.
Well, yeah,
Like
slander is
everything that
a
you say.
crime.
Yeah, you can't do it because um, spreading misinformation is an enemy of free speech.
And
So
not only that, by the way, but like the counter argument of free speech is that like websites that are like run with their own terms of service,
mhm.
like you can argue that by agreeing not to swear or something, like you yourself are signing away willingly certain aspects of free speech, and you have to abide by those rules. But at the same time, if you don't like it, you are free to go to some other platform, which is exactly what these companies are doing. Or if
Yeah,
I
they're
don't know if
going
they're
to
going to some
Twitter.
other platform, but at the very least they're pulling from this. Like
Yeah,
you can't force the companies to act in a certain way, but they don't have to play by your rules by simply, pulling out completely as well. Like that's the thing. There's freedom of speech, but there's also consequences to the freedom of speech.
yeah, and not only that, but like these are private forums. They're own. They're not owned, by the population as a whole. They're not government sponsored or anything like that. So it's not like um,
Well, yeah, freedom of speech only applies to the government itself. Like you can't
exactly.
get arrested for saying you don't like such and such a politician or whatever.
Correct, correct. But I guess what I'm saying is I'm glad that this finally happened because Mark Zuckerberg is so stubborn about this, and I don't understand
Yeah.
why. It does. I guess he doesn't understand that, or maybe he doesn't want to admit that his platform is now a, like a similar transmission method to to the way TV was the only form, of and it is a publisher. He doesn't want to admit that, but it is. Like anybody who publishes on there, gets to people's eyes.
Well,
So
and that's the
therefore,
thing,
they
and
they are a
especially
publisher.
yeah, and especially verified accounts. Like if a TV station has a Facebook account and they post something, like that's that station's broadcast. It is broadcasting.
Yeah. So maybe it's more work for them, but or whatever.
Yeah, it's a
But
pain in the ass, but I mean, like,
I mean, you
you're a
have a social
billionaire. Fucking put up with it.
responsibility.
Yeah.
You have social responsibility to not to protect people from misinformation, from damaging like misinformation that sounds good but will hurt people that listen to it. I mean, not everybody's a scientist. Not everybody has people that like teach them how to sift through bullshit. And we're seeing it firsthand. Like we need these kinds of protections put in place in order to protect people, believe it or not. And it's a shame that they're not willing to go along with it. Anyway, um, I all I wanted to say is that like good on Sony and good on other companies for putting the pressure on Facebook, because it's already becoming a cesspool, especially in an election year. I am very rarely on Facebook anymore. I don't even check it anymore because of how the vitriol on it is incredible, and Twitter is how I get like updates on products, like things that I want to buy and things.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, Twitter is often even worse than Facebook.
Oh, it's worse.
Like with Facebook, like you see aspects of your friends you may not have been aware of, but with Twitter, it's just everything at once.
Well, on Twitter, you can shut out more, as well.
You can mute words or phrases or whatever, which can really give peace of mind.
Yeah, and if it weren't for the podcast, and also the way that like developers and like the fan communities around like video games and retro gaming and all that stuff, if it weren't for the fact that they only communicate on Twitter, I would not be there. I wouldn't check it as often as I do, but I have a Mister, and I can't get any updates for it. I wouldn't know anything at all if I didn't follow it.
I mean, like I'm one of those people who's addicted to Facebook and Twitter, but I've also read many posts of like on Reddit or something of like, I shut down my Facebook account and I haven't been happier since. Like, I've never been so happy or something like that, or relieved or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
I have been happier since.
I haven't looked on my Facebook. I check my Facebook notifications once a week, and that's about it. I have it for accepting invites and for promoting the podcast and staying in touch with family members barely, and for the messaging. The messaging is actually the good part.
Yeah, the messaging is probably like the best thing.
Yeah,
like on my Facebook, even family. I have like. There's my brother, there's my sister-in-law, I think, like, there's, like, two of my cousins, but I don't friend my parents. Well, my dad doesn't have Facebook. I don't friend my mom. I don't friend my aunt and uncle. Like,
what's the matter? You're not friends with your mom?
Of course not. It's not Facebook. It's like the South Park episode. It's not Facebook official. But, like we don't need to see each other's, like, circles, and, like, we can talk to each other anytime we want. So, like,
sure.
What is my son thinking? I don't know. Fucking ask me. Like, we don't need the Facebook for that.
Well, I'm on there for like my cousins and stuff, like the people that aren't in my close by.
Yeah, I do. I do have my first cousins, but like, yeah, I try to keep friends and like co-workers to like a minimum.
Yeah. Well, co-workers, I'm very leery about having.
That's a slippery slope.
Yeah, because like. You never know what they're watching and interpreting about.
Yeah, and like I had a couple of superiors at my university try friending me. I'm like, I can't. I messaged them back, but I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I'm gonna maintain a professional distance. You want to see my weeb shit? Like, no thanks.
Let's move on. So new games coming out. Announcements and such.
Corrective Consciousness.
Rockman VR is coming to Plaza Capcom, so that's an arcade.
That's an interesting
venue.
Concept.
Yeah, so I'm wondering what they're going to do with it, because like I don't know how that would work.
It'll be Rockman X7 VR. So when you're fighting a boss, you just keep hearing "you punk, you punk, you punk, you punk," and somehow it's more annoying in VR than it was on PS2.
I just think it's cool. And hopefully, we'll get to see some footage of it, or to understand what it's kind of like, because it sounds pretty. Also, Shadow Warrior is getting a new sequel teased. That would be the third Shadow Warrior game. It's like since the reboot.
Yeah, the third new one. Yeah. Because the first one was just a Duke Nukem clone anyway.
The first two were great.
The original was just a Duke Nukem clone. Yeah, the first two I hear are quite brilliant.
It's not even a Duke Nukem clone. It used like the same engine and everything. But anyway.
Yeah, what if he was in Japan instead of in the U.S.? All right.
What if it had a lot of racist characters?
Yeah.
The new one is a lot better about it.
Is your name still like I don't know anything about the new one? Is your name still Lo Wang?
Yes, but he's played by Nolan North, and he doesn't have like an offensive accent or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's a lot less.
Yeah, the
It
the original one is definitely 90s humor.
yeah. This is a lot better about that.
Okay.
It's more tongue in cheek. It's a lot campier. It's like campy humor, and it makes fun of itself. It's very self aware.
Fair enough,
the newer
yeah.
game. So, um, also, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night finally gets its update with Boss Revenge and the Chroma Wheel. Did you see what the Boss Revenge was all about? That looked pretty cool.
No. Is this the last update, by the way?
No, I think there's more stuff coming.
So I'm still not going to play it then. All right.
I think that, yeah, this game is pretty damn complete, but they just keep adding stuff. So, Boss Revenge is pretty cool. You could play as several of the bosses.
Oh, that's crazy. So it's like
this.
the Shovel Knight stuff where you could play as Plague Knight in his own campaign or something.
Yeah, I don't know what to what degree.
Yeah, I don't know if it's another campaign, but the idea that you could play as not Simon Belmont, like not the main character is pretty radical for a Castlevania game.
Sure. This is pretty neat. I mean, I'm excited to play as some of those characters. Like some of the boss characters are a lot of fun. And the Chroma Wheel increases customization options for.
Oh, is it actually like one of those Photoshop like Spectrum things? You could change the color of whatever clothing or something.
You can do not just color but saturation and
Oh man,
and intensity and all that kind of stuff. So you can really do cool stuff with your hair and your outfits and stuff.
That's
so,
pretty rad. That's pretty cool.
It's really neat that they're allowing you to do this, and I like this game being a platform. It just like gets more and more stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. I loved Bloodstained when it came out, and I haven't played any of the new features since it came out. But
yeah, and that's exactly why I've waited to play it, because like I don't want to beat a game and then like
go back to
6 months later. Oh well, now there's this.
Yeah, but I couldn't help myself, and I'm glad I played it because it was amazing.
I look forward to playing it in 2023 when it's finally done.
It's cool though that they're keeping it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is cool.
They don't have to add all this stuff. It's like extra. Also, new games that have came out recently. Trails of Cold Steel launched on the Switch this week.
Yeah, the third one.
Week. I wish I was excited. I'm excited in theory, I guess you could say, because like I am so far behind in the series that
I was going to say something similar. Yeah, these games are so long, and I hear they're so great, but
they're
like
great, yeah.
Now like one's coming out like every 2 years. It's like, oh man, like I mean that's not hard to keep up with if you're just concentrating on that series, but like I'm not. So it's just
exactly.
like, oh no, now there's 7 games. Like because there's Trails of the Sky 1, 2, and 3. There's Cold Steel 4's coming out. It's like it's overwhelming.
7 games that are gigantic. That are I think they have like the some of the biggest scripts that have ever
it's like
ever been
one
translated.
of the more ambitious titles in that regard, and it's awesome, but like it's just so much. It's like it's why I haven't played any of the Persona games. I get it, they're good, but like I'm intimidated by one of them, let alone 5.
Yeah. So I really wish I could get to it, but I need to play the PSP games first.
I know. So. I gotta play the Sky.
Trails in the Sky series.
Yeah.
And then there's like the 2 spin-off games that are getting fan translations in the middle. The other arc, the Crossbell arc in the middle.
Oh
there.
God, it's PSP too much.
And yeah, I mean,
it's it's a lot. Like
here's
a million JRPGs.
Here's the here's the silver lining. Don't be like Lotus and myself. If you want to play something that's really cool, like find a natural jumping on point.
Yeah, you don't have to play number one
series.
through number. I will say, if I ever finally play a Persona game, I will break my rule and just play 4 or 5. Like, I do not want to play 1 or 2. I'm sure they were good at the time, but
no. One or two are basically most fans say don't bother.
Yeah,
just play 3, 4, and 5.
I mean, there are a lot of games in a series of fans will say don't bother, but I'm like, I gotta do them. But like Persona, no, I'll play 4 or 5. I'll just jump to them. That'll be like a first for me.
Persona 1 is too hard to play. Even the PSP, it's not worth it. Like even the PSP update is.
And what's funny is, I mean, like I think the PSP update actually has this, but like. You're saying the original PS1 game is too hard to play, and the American version removed the hard dungeon. I think it was optional, but it sounds like a nightmare. Well, I remember reading up on it on like GameFAQs or something years ago, without even knowing the game. Just basically what the descriptions were, still just sounded incredibly intimidating. I was like, forget this. It was like that Black Queen or White Queen or whatever dungeon. It just sounded like the scariest thing.
Oh yeah, the bonus dungeon.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are plenty of series that have just so much baggage. Like, if I wanted to get into the Assassin's Creed series, I don't know where I would start. I
would probably start with the first one, but I probably would. Yeah, that is. But I will say this though, like for the Yakuza games, I've joked about this 100 times. You got to play 1, 2, 3, 4, Dead Souls 5, 0, Kiwami 1, but like. And there is a sense of the games referencing each other, but like start with 0 or Kiwami 1. 0. Like you don't need to play the PS2 games. It's fine. You're gonna miss a couple of in-jokes. That's it. Whatever. Who cares?
I even have a couple of my friends that are urging me to play like Witcher 3 without playing 1 or 2. And
a lot of people say that Witcher 3 can be played in a vacuum. Yeah.
I'm leaning towards it because I know that there are some people that aren't a fan of Witcher 2. In particular, and I don't know.
Because I was gonna say, if anything, The Witcher 1 gameplay wise really has not aged well. Witcher 2 feels more natural, but like I've heard that with each Witcher game,
the battle system
that's the thing. Yeah, with each Witcher game, once you've played the sequel, you can't go back. Like I can't play Witcher 1 anymore, and when I finally play 3, I'm sure I won't be able to play 2 anymore.
Do you know how 3 handles like
I'm
the
afraid
decision
not.
stuff?
No, I don't.
If you don't play 1 and 2. Well,
I'm assuming
that's
the same way The Witcher 2 handles decision stuff. Like, there's a little bit of carryover, a little bit from 1, but like, at least in The Witcher 2. Well, actually, no, because with The Witcher 1, there were only a couple decisions that might affect anything in Witcher 2, but The Witcher 2 had like multiple very different endings. So I actually don't know how that translates to Witcher 3 if you play it in a vacuum.
They dealt with it in Mass Effect like pretty well. You have like the graphic.
Yeah, how
novel.
would you have done it? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
that is very clever, but I don't know what Witcher 3 does, if anything.
Okay.
I mean,
they might just
be like
it just might not carry.
Yeah, maybe they'll just give you a prologue. Here's what happened. Fine, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, moving on to that, since we did talk a little bit about Atlas stuff, Catherine Full Body is now on Switch, the updated version of Catherine.
I thought you were going to talk about Rule of Rose when you brought up Atlas. I don't know why I thought that.
Never.
Yeah, Catherine Full Body on Switch at long last. It hasn't even been out for that long on the other systems. Like, Cold Steel feels like it's been out for a while, but like Catherine Full Body hasn't been out for that long, so that's not a bad delay for Switch.
I think Cold Steel 3 being on the Switch is a good move because like the amount of time that you need to put into it, it's good that it's on. The system.
Those long ass games. Like I prefer playing on a TV, but like
you can see why.
If you're gonna play anything in bite-sized portions and slowly advance instead of waiting for finally a block of free time that isn't really that much, like. Nah, JRPGs are some of the best things to play on the go, if you ask me.
Yeah, I played Dragon Quest 11S on the Switch, and I was so glad I had.
If you had to wait till you got home, you'd still be playing that today.
Oh yeah, and I sunk 80 hours into it, and I didn't even do the post-game content, which is supposed to be phenomenal. And
I tend to binge at night, but like if I couldn't binge, then like maybe I would want on the Switch. Yeah, it's my break at work. I'll do 10 minutes or whatever. Like it adds up. Like that's a great way to play games like that.
I have an opportunity to binge every 2 weeks. An opportunity. That doesn't mean I
Yeah,
can
that's the
or
thing.
will.
Yeah, like you have a life. I mean, like
Yeah.
some things you're never gonna make that work. Like Death Stranding. Like here's your hour-long cutscene. But like JRPGs where you're grinding or whatever, knock out a little bit for little chunk. It's fine. It's a
Yeah.
great way to advance.
Also, Strikers 1945 3 is now on PC. I did mention this because City Connection has been putting out the Sikio Switch releases a la carte on Steam. So they initially, when it was under their original publisher Zero Div, they were just releasing the Psycheo games a la carte. So they would put out the Strikers games and the Gunberg games and a few of the others on one game at a time
Mm-hmm.
for like $7.99 a piece. But then they switched publishers to City Connection while in the middle of releasing all of these. And in the U.S., they only released the 2 final games as part of a bundle.
Weird.
Which is really annoying because like I already have all the other games. So like I'm not gonna buy the bundle just to get like the 2 games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm really glad that they decided to release every game a la carte on Steam.
I mean, like, I don't know why they don't do that on day one anyway. Like, people will buy what they want. You know, you don't have to, like, pressure them to pay more for something they don't want, or, like, alienate them if they don't buy it. Like, why isn't every game released a la carte and also in bundles?
I think it had to do with like the physical deal that they made with Nippon Ichi. Nippon Ichi published the physical games like on cartridges
Okay.
in the United States. So I think it had something to do with that. But as a result, like some of the fans suffered, like me.
Yeah, it
like
throws that question up into the. Like, I mean, how many times have you asked this question for like tons of different cases like these? Like, oh, is this going to be the only way to buy this? I hope they're going to release it a la carte, and oftentimes they do, but like you never know. And this happened like 3 or 4 times. It just keeps happening with this weird esoteric package that hopefully won't be the only way to get this thing. It's like it's so irritating.
Yeah, especially that Samurai Showdown Neo Geo Pocket Color release.
The Switch pre-order thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm really glad that people don't have to put up with the bullshit that I did.
Yeah.
But like, I didn't mind because I ended up getting the Switch version of the new game that it was promoting.
Yeah, the one that's just called Samurai Showdown.
Yeah, and thankfully the Switch versions are very good, and I've also been playing with Retro Gamer online every once in a while, so I was actually very happy with that purchase. But what if just offer it from the get-go and or tell people what's going to happen,
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, say it's a timed pre-order bonus or whatever. Don't just say like this is the only way to get it until I say otherwise.
Yeah.
Without even that caveat, it's just this is the only way to get it, and then time goes by until they finally tell you something else.
I did want to stress that Strikers 1945 3 is a really cool release. It had never gotten a console port since its release. So like the only way that you could play it was on MAME essentially, or on the phone. They did a mobile port of it, which it doesn't play like it would on in the arcade or whatever. So I'm a big fan of this series, and this was like the one game that had never been available to me in any realistic format. So I'm really glad that I at least could buy it on PC. So I did. I think it was like $10, but well worth it for me. Also, Iron Man VR finally released.
That was like Iron Man Forever, wasn't it? I can't believe it's finally out.
And to good reviews too. It's practically universal.
I hope so.
Yeah,
that's one of those things where like every so often, like a few months goes by. Oh, I bet you forgot they were making an Iron Man VR game. Oh, were they? Yeah, they were, weren't they? And like it's crazy that it's finally out.
Yeah, apparently it's a lot of fun. And
Nice.
it's not like the Batman experience where it's just something simple. This is like a
Well,
full
yeah.
fledged game, you know, like.
So do you do that thing in the first Iron Man movie where you just shoot your like repulsor shots out of your hands and
I
send
think that's
things
actually a
flying
big
backward?
part of the how the game controls. You
Very
need
nice.
two move controllers in order to play the game. I think.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So a lot of people are trying to. There's like a massive shortage of move controllers right now, which is hilarious to me because I
Yeah. Well,
bought
yeah.
mine
It's
on
funny
super goddamn
because
clearance. back in
well,
the
yeah.
day.
Well, that was the thing. Like, because move controllers were pretty expensive when they came out,
Oh yeah,
and like nobody wanted them because like 3 games made use of them in like gimmicky ways. We're like, ah, nobody cares. And then PSVR came out, and all of a sudden it got hard to find move controllers because PSVR stuff was pretty cool.
hmm
And all of a sudden, all those PS3 move controllers, which by the way, PS3, PS4 move controllers are effectively the same thing,
they're the
but all
same
of a
thing.
sudden those got totally snatched up. Like the only reason I have move controllers is that I bought like at the PSPR bundle
hmm
that just came with them.
I just had mine because I bought a bunch of move stuff when all of it was getting clearanced out because the
Yeah.
move say what you want about the move platform. There were actually a lot of really fun games on there. It just wasn't successful.
That's
Um,
the thing. Like, it was good for some rail shooters,
and I like that kind of
like
game.
Dead Space Extraction.
hmm
There were some amusing gimmicks, but like, there
House of Dead
wasn't.
4,
That's true, but
Time
there
Crisis.
wasn't. But well, that was hard to market because it was digital only. And that's kind of the whole thing. There wasn't that.
The Resident Evil Chronicles games.
Yeah, but those had already been out for years and years on the Wii. But like the thing is, there wasn't that one amazing game like Half Life Alex. Like they didn't have one of those that made you like now I really got to get a move. Until the PSVR came out and it had a
Yeah.
bunch of actually pretty cool stuff, and it wasn't even like it had a killer app. It's just there was a bunch of stuff that actually looked good, and it's like, yeah, you know what, it might be worth getting this system. And now you need move controllers.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm excited for it because we both have PSVR, and this looks like to be a tentpole release for
Very
PSVR
nice,
for
very
sure.
nice. Yeah.
So I'm excited about it. Also, there were a couple TV related announcements. Fallout TV show was announced. Uh,
Do you think it'll be accurate to the source material and you just like clip through walls and shit?
you move outside and everything floats away.
Yeah. It'll be Fallout 76 the show where there's nobody around and you're like, why am I here? Actually, that would be honestly that would probably be a legitimately accurate Fallout experience, like for real, like the Mad Max
Yeah.
experience. It's just you in the wasteland, but that's not fun as a game. That might be interesting as a show, and in fact, it has
I
been.
mean, I think it could be a really interesting show. I just don't know. Like, it doesn't really. The series doesn't have iconic characters very much, except in limited areas. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and,
So
yeah, and even then, it's like it's NPCs. It's not like your character is custom made.
exactly. That's what I'm kind of getting at. I mean,
Yeah.
the most iconic character in the series is probably Benny from New Vegas, and you have a couple other like standouts. You have Mr. New Vegas, who's played by Wayne Newton. Like just
Wow.
like yeah, fun stuff like that. But like
You have Ron Perlman as the narrator.
yeah. I mean,
That'd be fucking sick. I would love that.
the there's probably the best characters have been in New Vegas, and I'm wondering if they're going to take it inspiration from that because you have Caesar, which had an interesting story. Because like you find out that he has cancer, and like part of the reason why he is the way he is like everybody's sympathetic in that game to a degree. Nobody's like an outright fucking monster.
You know, like if I had to guess, because I don't know anything about the show other than it will exist,
Yeah,
but like if I had to guess, I would say it's just gonna be just a new story that doesn't
Yeah.
have anyone you recognize except
Which
for maybe
I'm
like
happy
a
with.
character or cameo. It's like, oh, if you play the games, you might
I
know who
mean-
this is, but it'll probably be just like in its own. It's kind of like the Witcher
Yeah.
show. I mean, that actually is based on source materials. It's based on the books, but like nobody in America has read the books except for if they're hardcore fans of The Witcher 3 or something. So like the show is nothing like the game except that it has Geralt. Like, maybe it'll be like that. Fallout just does its own thing.
Well, Fallout, you basically just need your tropes. So, like, probably the main character is going to be a vault dweller. I mean, why wouldn't he be?
Yeah, you gotta.
Why wouldn't they be?
There's no way they're not doing that. Open the door and see
exactly.
the expanse.
The vault life versus the wasteland life.
And I hope they make that thing. I hope they milk that too. Like, I really hope that they do not open the door to the wasteland. Even in episode 1, give me a few episodes of Vault Life. If you must do episode 1, do it at the last second, and then it's just credits. Like, please give us time to appreciate Vault Life before you make it clear that Fallout is not the vault.
Exactly. You can allude to the outside or whatever.
Yeah, but you gotta earn the moment where you enter the wasteland.
Yeah, and Fallout 3 did that really well. I mean, that was part of what made that a lot of fun.
And if anyone makes choices, you gotta have a wheel come up where you could choose.
Yeah, I mean, New Vegas didn't really have the. You weren't a vault dweller in that, so.
No, I mean that's true, but I mean, yeah, you gotta do it though.
Yeah, I mean that's an iconic part of like Fallout 1 and 3 in particular. So.
And 4, isn't it?
And 4, yeah, and 4. You were vault dwellers in all of those, so. It's just like, welcome to the world.
Yep.
I'm wondering what locale, because every Fallout game has a different area of the country.
That's true, yeah.
Like Fallout 3, it was DC, and New Vegas, New Vegas was Vegas.
Where was 76? I forgot where that was.
Oh, I don't know about 76, but
okay.
4 was. I forget what 4 was.
Yeah, like, I don't play Fallout, so, like, I might have seen snippets and, like, clips or something, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
It's always a different metropolitan area.
Yes. And that's another thing. Like, with the show, they don't have to do DC. Like, they could just pick a place. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't even have to be metropolitan. They could just pick some place. It doesn't Fallout 4 open with, like, a suburban neighborhood?
Yes. Yeah, it's definitely like a Leave It to Beaver kind of situation, a perfect area, and then everything gets nuked. It's Boston, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Boston is Fallout 4. But 3 was cool because you also dealt with the the country trying to hold itself together as a country post apocalypse, and I like that a lot. Like, you had to deal with the president of the United States in Fallout 3, so like that was a neat thing that they did. I would like that as a backdrop for sure. New Vegas was really cool too, but we'll see. We'll see what they come up with. The other big TV announcement was like out of nowhere. The World Ends With You anime was announced.
Yeah, that was weird. Remember that game that we kind of forgot about on the DS that finally got a remaster on the Switch like 2 years ago, and it's still kind of an underground thing? Well, guess what?
Yeah, I just hope they make an actual sequel at some point instead of just keep on trying to rehash the original, because like at this point the DS version's still the best because of the way it controlled. It's not going to survive unless you completely remake the game. It didn't function well on the Switch. So, like, just come out with a new game with a new way of interacting with that game. What was good about the series was, like, the music and the story and the style, the Shibuya kind of look. And they need to just bring that back, But anyway,
by the way, speaking of things getting adapted, I'm not sure if you heard about this. You might have, but Cyberpunk. Did you hear about Cyberpunk?
No, I didn't hear about an adaptation.
Oh, are you kidding me? This is gonna blow your damn mind then, because apparently Netflix is going to get a Cyberpunk anime adaptation with Studio Trigger doing that. Like, Trigger is insane, and not only that, but the score is going to be by I think Akira Yamaoka of Silent Hill fame.
Oh man, yeah.
So like what? Like, that's Studio Trigger, like that, and Yamaoka, like that's insane.
Shadows of the Damned too, right?
Yes, and there are a couple of tracks in Shadows of the Damned where like if I put a blindfold on you and play, or if I just play the track in a vacuum, there are a couple of tracks where you might assume it's from Silent Hill. There's a little bit of a vibe about it, but that opening, like when you're on the title menu, you would never guess that was Yamaoka.
Oh man, I forgot this, but Studio Trigger was the ones that put out Inferno Cop.
Oh yeah, the most well animated anime of its time. But no, but for real
amazing.
though, they did like Kill La Kill. They did.
Yeah, Kill la Kill's their big one.
Did they do Gurren Lagann or was it Gainax?
No, that was a Gainax. That was Gainax's last
Okay.
one, I think.
Okay,
Or close
but yeah,
to their last.
Trigger did Kill La Kill, and that animation is. Didn't Gainax like turn into Trigger?
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say.
Okay,
is
so
that,
yeah, and that, if you've
Trigger,
seen,
Trigger was built on the remnants of Gainax.
yeah, the animation for that stuff is just bananas. Like, I mean, somebody like that doing Cyberpunk, like, not that it's necessarily going to be like this over the top, like, whoa, animation everywhere, but like these guys are quality animators, and actually, I know season 2 was. Nah, I was thinking One Punch Man, but I think that might have been Madhouse.
Gotcha.
Madhouse is really good for fights.
Gainax still exists,
Oh.
to some degree, but like nothing that since there was Panty Stocking and Garter Belt. I watched that.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
But like
I watched Kill La Kill. That was so much fun.
There was a bunch of stuff that happened post Gurren Lagann that I never had any
yeah,
experience with.
I just watched Gurren Lagann and Kill La Kill as far as I know. Although was Little Witch I think it was Little Witch Academia Trigger?
I think so. Let me see here.
I saw the movie for that. It was okay. That was also very, very gorgeously done. And of course, Inferno Cop, which is like the anime equivalent of a shitpost. That was so
It's
funny.
basically Aqua Teen Hunger Force, but from Japan.
Yeah, with like the characters aren't animated; they're like still drawings that bob around like you're playing with puppets. It's so funny.
Yeah, Studio Trigger is also pretty famous for doing a lot of video game cutscenes. Like they did the Project Cross Zone stuff, Black Dynamite. They did Black Dynamite. Wow. They did the opening animation for that.
Very
TV
nice,
show.
very nice.
What else did they do? Fire Emblem Fates.
Oh yeah, I've seen one of the cutscenes in that, and yeah, that's pretty like energetic with the fights.
They've also did the opening animation for OKKO, which was pretty popular. Cartoon Network series, Steven Universe episode, a bunch of different stuff. Indivisible, remember that game? The game that was kind of like Valkyrie Profile.
Oh yeah, that the big like Kickstarter funded game.
They did an opening animation.
I forgot
for
about that. They mentioned like in an update. Guess what? We're getting an animation from this company. What?
Yeah, opening animation for the recent Shantae game as well.
That's right. The Seven Sirens. I forgot about that.
So topical. But that's cool. I'm excited for that. Then I always like cyberpunk at anything in general. So also just like some things on the the hobbyist end. The Analog NT Mini got new features announced well into its development and release. And people are pissed because
I would have ordered if I had known.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's still fucking $500. Like I can't do that.
This is way after. Well, the big thing is that people that owned the original Analog NT Mini are pissed because they weren't going to upgrade.
Yeah, why would they?
They wouldn't for the new one that's basically just black and then had a couple little enhancements, but there's a bunch of different things that they added, like upgraded FPGA scaler and UI. They perfected the NES slot, which that was something they did announce. But they announced a bunch of different stuff that they didn't originally talk about.
I'm still waiting for them to do an NT Mini Slim that doesn't have the unnecessary metal or the cables that are not HDMI. Like I
Yeah,
don't like I, like
or the
I would
four
happily buy
ports.
one if it weren't like $500.
Or the
Like
4 controller ports. That it doesn't need that. You could
yeah,
just
that's cool, but you could buy like
get a 4
whatever the
score.
four. I was gonna say whatever the multi tap was called for
Yeah, I
for like
mean,
$10.
and not only that, but like, how often are you going to play 4-player NES game with
Yeah,
your
you're
friends these days?
not. Like, do you really like NES Bomberman? That's the game you gotta play.
Well, there's Super Spike V-Ball, which is quite good, but
Okay.
and the River City
The soccer game.
soccer game, yeah, World
To
Cup
be
soccer.
fair, like I don't know when I would actually play that, but like that's one of those games I
Yeah.
might actually try that with.
Those are like the 2 games that I would say are worth it, and none of the rest. I mean, they're what is there? Nightmare on Elm Street, which is a shit show when you play
I
that.
completely forgot that was 4-player.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like, what I'm saying is a bunch of people are pissed because there are some obvious really good improvements here, and
Yeah.
people like, here's also the thing is that they're all sold out on this thing. So like,
Oh yeah, they always do. Yeah.
yeah, but they sold out like a long time ago. Also,
Yep.
they announced that this was going to be delayed a month before shipping, like their ship date. So
Yeah.
like, people are pissed about that because like they delayed their ship date.
Analog is pretty notorious for taking forever to ship.
They're I'm gonna go ahead and say that they're just notorious for poor communication. They have good
Yeah.
products and poor communication.
Yeah.
And that's really the long
They
and
gotta
short
get
of
a
it.
PR person.
Yeah, they just need somebody who will answer questions, like just like, and like, not like people trying to be jerks, just like actual just details on things.
Yeah.
Like, hey, will you make another one of these? Will you make this available? Like, there's like stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
will like, you are sold out of the Mega SG. Will I ever be able to buy a new one in the future? You wouldn't know
Yeah.
that until they put more up on the website. Like,
Yeah, nope.
it's
Yep.
and that's a stupid way to do it. I mean, I don't know why they sell them like that, because the Mega SG and the Super NT are like much more mainstream products than anything else
I was actually going to mention that. I was going to say that style is kind of like what
it's very mainstream.
Yeah, but I was going to say like the analog style of communication is kind of like the GDEMU and like the Rhea guy, but that's one guy. He's not like a company.
No, this is a company. yeah. And they could just easily just say yes and no and things like that.
Yeah.
It's just like, and people like always on their Twitter just like asking like just basic questions, and they're very frustrated all the time. And they rewrote the NES core and everything. I mean, since I got a Mister, I'm less and less enthused about these things.
Yeah, it doesn't affect you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, and I also have an HDMI enabled Famicom, so like I'm good. But this is a really nice system, and it would be nice to make the decision to buy it if you wanted it. You know, it just stinks that the way that they, like, why would you announce new features after the pre-orders?
Yeah, after everyone's made their decision. That's
it's
bizarre.
So stupid. Yeah.
This isn't like Kickstarter where you're announcing bonus features.
No,
like
it's stupid.
That's bizarre.
Also, Woozle, the guy who came out with the GBA Consoleizer, has finally revealed Neo Geo Pocket Color and Game Gear Consoleizer. Like, he had talked about doing them, but like, he actually like showed them.
Yeah, that's kind of like I mean, a Consoleizer
really cool.
is a little bit of a different thing than what I'm going to mention, but it sounds like the analog Pocket. I mean, it doesn't have the links, but I mean,
well, this is for you to take your actual console and just modify it to have TV out.
Yeah.
So, and I think they're going to do Super Nintendo controller for the Neo Geo Pocket Color, and Game Gear is getting Sega controller port. But this is really cool stuff for people that want to like game on the original hardware and still would like a way of displaying it. I am less. I was really excited for the Neo Geo Pocket Color, but I've been thrilled with SNK's output of the Neo Geo Pocket Color games on Switch.
Yeah.
I think they're excellent. I think it's even better than playing it on the original hardware because of what they did with the Versus stuff.
Yep.
So like I am just on cloud nine with. They made like something that was supposed to be played on two screens on one screen, and it works perfectly. It's perfect. Um, I don't need, and I have a Mister now, and I believe any day now, you'll have a Neo Geo Pocket Color core. Why not? I mean, there's no reason why a Mister can't do that. So, for all the games that aren't going to get the official ports, so I'm okay with that. Having my original system modded, but I think it's really neat, especially the Neo Geo Pocket Color, because nobody's ever done it before. The Game Gear has been consoleized before by a few teams.
Yeah,
but,
I could think of like the Behar Bros, for example.
Yeah, it's never been done via HDMI though. So this is a new thing for that. So that's great, because anytime you can get rid of a scaler in the middle of things, I'm totally for it, because as much as I like the scalar stuff, it's because it allows me to play something. If I didn't have to use it, I wouldn't, because they're a pain in the butt to manage. Also, I thought this was really cool. Fans resurrect the online play for the Sega Saturn.
Yeah, that's insane. What even has online play? Like, does Virtual On even have
Virtual On?
Because I know they had a link cable that has online.
Yes.
And Duke Nukem 3D, right? Or maybe Quake?
I think Daytona had a Netlink edition.
Okay.
Sega Saturn Netlink.
I can't believe, like, I know the Dreamcast had online, and that seems weird enough, but, like, the Saturn, like, that early.
Yeah, let me see what games. There aren't many, I can tell you that. Daytona USA, Duke Nukem 3D, we got most of them. Saturn Bomberman.
Most of them. Saturn Bomberman had online?
There's a specific version that it makes it online. There's a Netlink version.
Jeez.
And it wasn't released in the US.
Okay.
Sega Rally Championship, which those games are...
Oh, that was the Game Over, yeah. That was that one.
I think that's Daytona still.
I don't think it is, because I looked it up before.
Sega Rally is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And Virtual On. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, not many to work with.
But the games that
Sega
are
Rally
on there are pretty fun.
Yeah.
I mean, Virtual On, and Bomberman are probably the ones.
Online Bomberman in the 90s, like, that's like mind blowing.
That's pretty cool. Over dial up.
Yeah. I mean, you get what you pay for, I guess.
Also, this was just a quick thing. It was the 25th anniversary of Street Fighter, the movie, the game.
Well,
and,
how did you not open with that? It's clearly the most important thing.
Jean-Claude Van Damme posted like a GIF of
Are you shitting me?
His capture, like combing his hair. Yeah, it was really cool.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, Jean-Claude Van Damme was like all over it. He was just like, dude, I was captured in this game.
Did T-Hawk? Did T-Hawk's actor post a picture of him drinking and walking off the set and not capturing for the game? Where's T-Hawk? Why isn't T-Hawk a Street Fighter 2? I don't understand.
Jean-Claude Van Damme at the time did thought
he was
that
not a fan.
The game was beneath him, basically. Yeah. So I thought it was kind of cool that he even acknowledged this.
Well, it was the 90s. Like, every single movie or TV actor would have thought that video games were beneath them. It's like, I guess I'll do it.
Apparently, he only verifiably did something like 60% of the capture, and the other 40 was his stunt double, because
that's amazing.
Yeah. And also a sad note here: we lost Carl Reiner this week.
Yeah, he lived a very long life, though.
Yeah. Oh well, he was in his 90s, 95, I think. I believe. And he was a comedy legend. He was
right up there with Mel Brooks.
Yeah, yep. Best friends with Mel Brooks. So, and the father of Rob Reiner, who is also a fixture of comedy. So, it's a shame. It's a shame.
He died at 98.
I'm sorry?
He died at 98.
At 98? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, I actually, someone linked it when it came up. I've actually seen this before years ago, but someone brought it back. Did you ever see that old black and white, I don't know what show it was, but a stage performance of Carl Reiner and Mel Brooks doing their 10 million year old man shtick?
It's 2,000-Year-Old Man
Two thousand
was
year
a
old
big
man.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, do you ever see that? It's
No,
pretty.
no, no.
It's like it's pretty amusing, and it's also kind of funny because Mel Brooks was like this, ancient being who still speaks with like the heaviest Jew accent you've ever heard. Like he just talks like that. It's
Like a New
so
York
funny.
Jew. Yeah,
Yeah, like what are the odds?
yeah.
It's
He was
super
in
funny.
It's a Mad World,
Oh,
which is one of the most famous comedies, American comedies of all time.
I still haven't seen that
It's really
one.
good.
Yeah,
I
I've
have the
heard. I've
Blu-rays
heard.
with the extended cut.
Yeah, I heard the extended cut. Well, the extended cut's long, isn't it? Like it's like two and a
It's
half
like,
hours or something.
yeah, no, it was like the roadshow version, so like it's pretty long.
Okay.
They were both on Sid Caesar's Caesar Hour, which
Yeah.
and also they were the producers of Dick Van Dyke Show.
Oh.
Yeah, just like a whole bunch of stuff. Like that it's very recognizable that you just would kind of write off. You would think that the people that had to deal with it were long gone, but yeah, Carl Reiner was like real big, and also like one of the things that he wanted was he wanted to get to the election just to see if there would be an outcome that he wanted, and unfortunately he didn't get to that point. But he's been around. He's a comedy legend and was in all kinds of good stuff. And he's his History of the World Part 1. He's got in it.
Oh, that's great. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like tons
And Mel
of
Brooks
stuff.
was a piece of shit king and a low level worker with a heart of gold.
Yeah, the piss boy.
It's the piss boy. It's good to be the king.
You-
I didn't realize Blazing Saddles was giving that a nod when they had that line because I hadn't seen the movie yet.
Yeah.
Or not Blazing Saddles. I'm sorry, Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Oh yeah.
When Patrick Stewart kisses Maid Marian, it's good to be the king. Like I didn't get that at all. I was like, okay. I mean, the line works in a vacuum, but I didn't realize it was a nod.
Listen to this. He was in movies as late as last year. He was
Wow.
in Toy Story 4.
97.
Yeah, he was in Toy Story 4 as Carl the Rhinoceros.
Oh, that's great. That's really on the nose.
Ah,
Yeah.
it's a rhino pun.
That was actually accidental, but that really is on the nose, though. Carl Rhino, like that's perfect.
Carl Rhinoceros. But yeah, I mean, I love Rob Reiner because he's made some of my most favorite films of all time. I mean,
Yeah, didn't he do The Princess Bride?
yeah, and he did This Is Spinal Tap.
Oh,
Yeah.
if he did This Is Spinal Tap, then does that mean he also did Best in Show?
Yeah, I think he did all three. The Mighty Wind after that.
I still need to see The Mighty Wind. Best in Show is great.
I think it was like the entire creative team on all three of those.
Very nice. Spinal Tap was also like that movie was hysterical.
Rob Reiner also is like the founder of Castle Rock Entertainment, which owns like Seinfeld. Like,
oh wow.
He also did Stand By Me, which he was also an actor in All in the Family, which is one of the most important TV shows of all time.
I've only seen clips of that, but yeah, I'm aware it's a big deal.
It's an important cultural touchstone. So, but
I love
yeah.
the opening song where like it's just the family singing at the piano, but the wife's singing is like intentionally just shrill and annoying.
Yeah, he's director of This Is Spinal Tap. I mean, this is his son, but Stand By Me, Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally is
Yeah,
the best romantic comedy of all time, probably. Misery. Oh wow, I forgot about Misery.
that was Rob Reiner. Jesus.
Few Good Men. Wow, but North, American President.
Wait,
Goes to
was
Mississippi.
was A Few Good Men the one with like you can't
handle the truth? Yeah.
Okay.
No, he didn't do the other two. He didn't do
Oh, he did not do Best in Show.
Mighty Wind or Best in Show. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe he was involved in some way, but
Yeah. This is Spinal
was not
Tap
the
is
director.
freaking brilliant though,
yeah.
and it has Principal Skinner's voice actor as one of the band members.
One of the most crotchety men. They killed all of his characters on The Simpsons because he had like a contract dispute like on screen during like the intro. Like they all died like outside of
That's
like,
fucking brutal. That's some South Park shit.
Yeah, like they just died, and then they brought them back like mysteriously later on when they resolved it.
Oh yeah, wasn't that something like I forgot if it was for this character? But like, didn't you die? Like, nope. Okay.
It was Ned Flanders, Seymour Skinner, and Mr. Burns all died on screen.
Jeez.
Like all on the outside of like the Simpsons house. Like they were all killed by like a lawnmower or something. Like just unceremoniously.
Wow. That's
kind of like Maud Flanders, just like killed in the most undignified
That was the most
way.
like I was gonna say indignity, but like the most undignified way. Like like it was like a T-shirt cannon or something.
Cannon, yeah.
Oh, come on.
Oh well, not as bad as Chef on South Park. That was probably the most least
That was
dignified
over
way.
the top. That was and every line he had on that show was like a reused, edited in line at some point.
But the way that he died is just one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
Wait a minute though. Hold on. They're not dead until they
It just like explodes in diarrhea.
Damn, he is dead and a half.
So funny. I laughed so goddamn hard when I saw that originally.
Especially because again, he wasn't even acting that; they just reused old voice from him.
Clips.
So you just feel like
very obviously.
It's so bad, yeah.
I'm gonna make love to your children.
Can't break these locks. What?
So stupid.
It's like when Weird Al like edited interviews with people.
Oh yeah.
Where he just put in clearly, obviously clips
basically,
where they're
like
not responding to his
way of interviewing.
Yeah,
people.
like my favorite one of those that I remember was like with Eminem. Like, what is the formula for like this crazy math equation? And it cuts to Eminem. Well, it's a simple formula. It's like that's obviously not what he was talking about. Okay, then why don't you explain to me what it is? It was so stupid. I love it.
Yeah, it was Tom Tucker has something like that on the episode of Family Guy where he's supposedly interviewing wasn't Al Pacino, it was I don't know, but yeah, it was just really funny. It took like a clip of him as Captain Hook. From
Hook. Yeah, Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah,
like, is there anything you'd like us to do for you, Mr. Hoffman, at the end of this interview? Bring me Peter Pan. We'll keep a lookout for him. It's such bullshit.
All right, guys, this was a long ass episode, so
yeah,
we got to wrap it up. That was the show for this week. Please remember to subscribe to the Corrective Consciousness YouTube and SoundCloud page as well. There, please give us thumbs ups, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. Helps promote and spread awareness of the show, and any bit of encouragement helps keep the show going. You can also catch us on Thursday for our sister podcast, Corrective Consciousness, the podcast where we explore the humanity of pop culture. Finally, you can friend me as Visebold on pretty much everything.
And you can follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. You can hit me up on Twitter at Lotus Prince. And finally, if you are interested in seeing my videos early, getting in on exclusive live streams, selecting upcoming games for me to Let's Play, or getting in conversations with me and other patrons on Discord, then perhaps consider swinging by my Patreon account, which can be found at patreon.com/LotusPrince.
All right, everybody, we will catch you on Thursday.
Until next time, everyone. I jumped the gun. Let's do that one more time. Catch you on Thursday when what happens?
No, I'm past that.
It's too late.
All right.
I can't unring the bell.
The bell has been tolled.
Nobody told me.
I give you a telling to. All right, bye, guys.
Until next time, everyone.